Test, test, test. Let me know if you see me. Folks, welcome back to this live stream. Just let me know if you see me, if you hear me, and everything works fine. Okay? I see your comments. Let me know in the comment system if you can write there. Okay. It's important again that the video is more or less okay, but the audio quality should be great so that there are no hiccups and yeah. Okay, let me know. Okay, thanks folks. Yeah, super, great. So, if you're ready, I will explain the point of this live stream. First of all, I actually was on a mountain. I should have stayed on a mountain the whole afternoon, but something happened. I had to go back. So I'm at home and I thought, let's catch up with the Sony Alpha rumors folks and discuss the Sony A7V. So I want to discuss with you the Sony A7V. I will take your questions and also see maybe add some additional info that I just got a couple of hours ago, and then also discuss a tiny bit about 2026, what could be coming from Sony, but also from Canon and Nikon. And then at the end, introduce you a tiny bit more about my private project, because tomorrow likely I will do get interviewed by a friend of mine. He will make an interview that will go online on this same channel and also on other channels, but also on this channel. So you will see me talking about this new photography project, and so I will introduce you to that. So first Sony A7V, then some forecast about the 2026, and then talking about my private project. So let's see if people are ready, if there are enough people online. Okay, cool. So I will just add a couple of info on the Sony A7V and then take your question, if that's okay. The Sony A7V, the last minute rumor is that it will be announced on December the 2nd, which is on a Tuesday. Keep in mind, as usual, I don't know where the source is that sent me this info. So I don't know if it's Asia, Europe, US. So keep in mind there are time zones. So should be around December the 2nd that we are getting Sony A7V. And this is the last info that now will go online soon on sonyalpharumors.com. So you will also be able to read it there. And that's by then we will know everything. I should get some additional info about the sensor pretty soon, so that we finally know what the sensor is, because the only reliable info I got about the Sony A7V sensor is that it's a improved sensor, but this doesn't mean anything. So we don't know if, for example, the basic sensor is the same as the Sony A7 IV, and then they tweaked it so that it can read out faster, or because as I know, if I recall it right, the Sony A7V doesn't use the full potential of that sensor, so maybe they enabled they squeezed out a tiny bit more speed on the sensor, and that's what they mean with improved, or if it's a real new improved sensor. So this is still vague, and also the last point of big point of discussion, missing info that we are waiting to get. Yeah, there are also some more questions about pre-capture and so forth. I will have some answer about this soon. Tomorrow another Sony A75 rumor probably will go online, because I also just got another info, and it's about something that will be unique on this camera, so a first on this camera. And if I can, I will share it tomorrow. But why do I say I can? Because the source still has to confirm that I can share the image I got with the new feature of the Sony A75, so I'm waiting for this. So I know there has been a lot of critique. As usual, when there are big rumors, I read your comments, and there are many critics. Of course, the voice of the critics is dominant always on social networks and so forth. Most of the people that enjoyed my videos, they just don't comment, or but yeah, you always hear some people that are not happy that I don't spill out the full specs, but I really don't have the full specs that are 100% confirmed yet. So that's the truth, if you can believe me or not, but I don't have them as of yet. I told you 2 days ago a trusted source heard the specs and sent me those specs, but asked me to not post them because he didn't get them directly, and so he doesn't know if it's reliable or not still. So but I think that in 10 days I will know the full specs. So for sure before the December 2 announcement of the Sony A7V you will have the full info exclusively again on this channel, okay? Because I'm the only one on sonyalpha.com and on this channel to have leaked the images of the Sony A7V, told you that it has the same Sony A7V body, AI chip, IBIS, XOPS IBIS, 33 megapixel sensor, and so forth, that it's coming December 2nd. I know you want to know it all, but it's hard. This is a rumor channel and a rumor website if you follow sonyalpha.com, and not a news website. So you have to deal with it, or you just wait till the camera gets announced and then that's it, okay? Okay, so basically that was the quick additional info I wanted to give you today, that the Sony A75 is likely to be announced on December 2nd, probably 2-3 p.m. London time. Usually that's the timing when Sony does announce the stuff, and that all I got from trusted sources is that the sensor has been improved, but that doesn't mean much. We have to see what it means, okay? So it's not exactly the same sensor according to the trusted sources. Okay, I will now take your questions, okay? I scroll up so that I can see what you said. Okay. So the info about the 100-400 GM, there are two 100-400 lenses, millimeter lenses coming from Sony between now and probably end of first quarter 2026. There are actually three lenses coming. two are basically the same focal range, 100-400, but one is GM and one is G. The GM is 4.0. The G we don't know, maybe 4.5, 5.6 like the current GM version, but just now a G lens. But there's a 100-400 GM 4.0 constant aperture zoom coming for sure. Also the G version is coming, and also, like I told you many times, the 2.0 ultra wide angle fast zoom GM lens is also coming. Those lenses, I don't know if one or two of those lenses will be announced on December 2nd, or if they're coming January, February. I already heard about an announcement from Sony end of January, still to be confirmed, but you know, also end of February we have the big show in Yokohama, so anyway we'll get some stuff from Sony, but also from Canon, Nikon and others. So I think between mid-January and mid-February we'll get a ton of announcement from any manufacturer, okay? Okay, reading your comments again. This, I'm still not sure. So if 4K 60p crop, if it has crop, I will be disappointed, obviously, just like you. But this is not 100% confirmed, and we have to keep fingers crossed that the trusted source that heard the specs or didn't get them directly is right, because then that might change, okay? On the pre-capture, also here I'm awaiting confirmation about this. As soon as I can, I will give you info, but there's a chance it has pre-capture. It doesn't have the C5 button like you saw from the leaked image. I don't know if you saw the leaked images. Let's see if I can find it. You see it here. Obviously it doesn't have the C5 button, which is used on the Sony A1 to have the faster frame rate. But pre-capture, I don't know yet. I hope yes, because it's just a software feature, and the Canon R6 Mark III has it, so I think they should have it. I know from a rational point of view, they should absolutely do it, but I don't have the final confirmation. Now, a stacked sensor, I would be surprised if the Sony A75 has a stacked sensor, because it's an expensive sensor. So at best we can hope for a partially stacked sensor, but this is still, again, we are not there. No trusted source told me it has a stacked or partially stacked sensor yet, okay? So that's all I can say, but a stacked sensor, definitely not. I would be very surprised. Oh, wait, there's a question here. Sorry, there are so many questions. Sorry if there are pauses in between, but I'm trying to read your comments. OpenGate, I don't have any info, but I will make it my mission on this channel and on sonyalpha.com to somehow campaign for OpenGate addition on Sony cameras, because this is just a software feature they could also implement through future firmware updates on other current Sony Alpha cameras. So we just have to press Sony, and it worked already one time. If you remember, if you're a long-time followers of this channel and on sonyalpha.com, I pressed for years on Sony to be consistent with firmware updates, and they improved a lot. So for example, the latest firmware update on the Sony A12 and Sony A7V III really gave a ton of new features that make a ton of sense. So OpenGate, I will press on Sony that they added it. Even if the Sony A75 would not have it from day one, I will start to be super annoying. They will not like it, but I hope that others will join, that people are more important than me, the big influencers, the big photographers. But this is just a software feature. So let's hope that they will have learned the lesson. Yeah, sorry, sometimes if there are so many comments, if I skip your comment, try to re-comment with the new again with a question, because there are so many, so I might miss some of you. The ultra wide angle lens is not a 16-45mm 2.0 GM, that's for sure, not because I know the focal range yet, but because it's impossible. Okay, we have a 28-50mm GM and a 51-50 GM. So if you have an ultra wide angle zoom with 2.0, it has to be something like a 16-25. That's my speculation. Maybe it's an 18-28 just to close the gap to the 28 GM 2.0 zoom, but that's just my speculation. That's what I fear, Torcam, that improved means that this is not truly a new sensor. So improved, also the way I understand it, means that they simply allowed to squeeze out more speed and maybe details from that sensor that before were not, before were limited on the Sony A7 IV. But still, keep fingers crossed, because I should get the final answer within the next 17 days. So definitely way before end of November, I will have the answer. Do you think the camera will be the Canon R6 Mark III? So there are two scenarios. The conservative scenario, which means it has an improved sensor, the A7V body and so forth. Then it will be a solid update, but not beat the Canon R6 Mark III, let's say overall on average. It depends also from what you're looking for, what you need. For example, I expect the Sony A75 to have the best autofocus system, better autofocus system than Canon R6 Mark III. Maybe even have a tiny bit more dynamic range than the Canon R6 Mark III, but the Canon R6 Mark III, if the conservative scenario of the Sony A75 being a small update will be realized on December 2nd, then I think overall the Canon R6 Mark III will be better, particularly when it comes to video, maybe ergonomics, also some other small features the Sony A75 doesn't give you, like OpenGate, pre-capture and so forth, if the super conservative scenario becomes true. If the other scenario becomes true, that one of the trusted sources told me, like I told you many times, a trusted source heard through somebody else some specs, so he's not sure this time. If those specs would be true, then on average it would be a better camera than a Canon R6 Mark III. So it's really a horrible moment also for me, because, and for you obviously, because you don't know if you can, what truly to expect as of yet, except of this few leaked info I shared in those weeks. Any news on the FX cameras? Only news I had last time was that the FX 3.2 development actually was done. But now then the Nikons that are the C50 have been announced, so I don't know if Sony decided to postpone the launch of this camera just to for example, update some stuff and improve it. So that sometimes happens, at least from what I know in those 15 years I do rumor, can happen. So maybe they said like, no, we need a better camera, or we launch it later for a lower price, and in the meantime add some additional features via software, I don't know. But the FX-Ray 2 is definitely, probably, I'm 80% certain that it's coming 2026. The frame rate, no, I don't have info. I mean, not 100% confirmed info. I keep receiving info from news sources or people that also maybe mean it well, but I cannot give you now the full frame rate that one of the sources told me, but he was still not sure. So I'm still awaiting confirmation on that. Sorry, I don't have it. It should be improved. That's all that I know, that I can tell you. Some of the comments on your recent videos were completely ridiculous and unwarranted. If I might digress a bit on this topic about doing those kind of rumor videos and doing the rumor work. First of all, I understand generally that you're skeptical, that you think I'm playing with you sometimes or whatever. I'm not doing this. I'm really sharing what I can the moment I can, and I correct the rumor as soon as I realize that something may be wrong. And this, I can, maybe on the other side, this comes, you perceive this as confusing or as a manipulatory, I don't know how to say. But it's a hard job to do rumors. And what people still don't get is that I share two kinds of rumors, those from trusted sources and those that are unconfirmed. Those from trusted sources, you can hold me accountable and correctly say like, Andrea, you really fucked it up, okay? And even trusted sources can make mistakes 9 times out of 10 they're right. But sometimes they're wrong because they misinterpret something, or they miscommunicate something, misheard something, or I understood it wrong, which also happened because I'm a human being and not a robot. So, and also the source, trusted source, is a human being. So, but this is one kind of rumors, and then there are the unconfirmed rumors or rumors from news sources. And there is where I get most of the hate, and people don't get it, that I post those kind of videos mainly for one reason, to get a reaction from sources or trusted sources. Because often when I post such kind of videos with unconfirmed rumors, sources come back 1 day or 2 days or 3 days later and say like, no, this wasn't really right, and I learned something from it, and then I can give it back to you. And I know this might look like not a professional way of working, but actually it works. And the reason why it works is because I'm the only one that shared those kind of images yet. Nobody else on this planet, YouTube channel or website has shared leaked images of the Sony A7V. I told you that it's coming probably December 2nd, that it has 33 megapixel sensor, A7R5 body, and so forth. You know the specs. Maybe I show them to you so that you will see them. I mean, those are the specs I got, and so accept that my rumor work is a bit messy, but it works, okay, folks? And yeah, that's I also sometimes don't get when people are upset. I love positive, constructive critique. There's always a place for that, because I'm human, because I do mistakes and whatever. But the hate around rumors I don't get it. FX-Ray 2, I don't know. I don't know if it's Q1 2026. It should have been already announced in autumn. That was the rumor I got back in spring. And so the fact that it has not been announced, just guessing, it's because of the Nikon ZR and the C50, and Sony did go back to improve the camera. That's just a speculation, so I don't know when it's coming. Sorry, I'm a bit lost. So many comments, folks. I had no chance to play with the Nikon ZR, but I truly like the big screen of the camera, at least from what I saw from YouTubers and so forth. I love big screens. I'm still, honestly, I have the Sony A7V, but I'm still annoyed by that small LCD screen. I want it bigger, I want it brighter, and this should be mandatory, in my opinion, on Sony cameras in the future. It's not coming on the Sony A75. As you know, it has the same Sony A7V screen, same resolution, same size, and same four-way, fully articulating screen. Yeah, I hope that in the future we are getting bigger screens from Sony. Sony should give us at least, yeah, I agree with you, yeah. It has AI. The AI chip is coming for sure on the Sony A75, so it's definitely going to be a super camera for autofocus. There is no doubt about that. I don't know that. I don't know that. I will ask the trusted source if he knows about this. I have no info about the shutter mechanism. No idea about this. Sorry. I don't know why should it be I think it has the same Sony A7V body, so maybe it also has the same Sony A7V shutter. That's just a guess of mine. No. One source told me the EVF is improved over the Sony A7 IV, which has 3.67 million dot resolution, but he doesn't know what the resolution is. He only had the chance to look through, play with the camera, and hasn't been told about the specs of the EVF. I guess also it has 5.7 million dot EVF, which is amazing. It's great. It's better than the Canon R6 Mark III. A7S end of line. I guess so. I have not heard anything about the possible A7S IV. I still think it would make sense to make it. I know the FX2 sort of makes it kills the A7S idea somehow, in some sense. But I don't think Sony officially said it's that. They are just pausing the development and seeing, probably watching how things are going in the future. There I disagree. It's true that Sony has become a tiny bit conservative, okay? Particularly when it comes to cameras, not to lenses. Lenses, they are stunning, okay? I talked to a photographer yesterday, and I told him actually they should switch the manager from the lens department back to the camera department and let him run the stuff, you know. Then we would get some exciting cameras, because lenses like the 51, 52.0 are exciting, perfect, and really useful also. So not a show-off lens, but a lens that really like professionals buy and use and find super cool. And so sometimes my suggestion would be that Sony lens managers should, for a couple of years, switch over to the camera department and give us some exciting cameras that the current manager don't think we should get. Because, as you know, Sony is very conservative when it comes to the design of the cameras. We have the same basic body, and then everything gets smoothed out in time, which is a correct approach in a certain sense, okay, to make really a professional camera. But I miss some out-of-the-box thinking. Like, I would love to get some different kind of designs, something like more like Fuji is doing now. Fuji has a certain language. They create a hybrid viewfinder, optical viewfinder, electronic viewfinder camera in the corner and the top. Also Sony has it, but you know, some difference in style. I miss some vintage, proper vintage looking camera, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon. Reading your comments again. Ah, yes, that's interesting. Sony A7R6. As you probably know, I did own every Sony A7R camera that came out from the start back, I don't know how many years ago it was. This A7R from the first generation, and then so on and so on. And I will probably buy the Sony A7R6. And I suspect, just from a feeling, this is not a rumor, that the A7R6 will have a new sensor. After 8 years, makes sense that they're going for a new sensor. Even if the current sensor is excellent, I think they could go for something new. So I'm very excited about this. And from a timeline point of view, every 4 years this camera gets an update. So the A7R6 would be actually due in 2026. So it could be coming, for example, end of 2026. But I didn't get any rumor about the possible specs yet. I know Sony has some sensors up to 100 megapixel in full frame, so those really do exist. Don't think we're getting 100 megapixel Sony A7R6. Would be quite a headliner, so everybody would go like, wow, cool. I don't know if we really need it. Maybe also keeping the same resolution, but just have a new faster sensor and some other improvements that just make it better than before. Did nobody of you watching me knows me and knows how I work? Okay, so it's obviously, if I would be on your side, I would also go like, maybe he's working with Sony, or he's just whatever. I can only say what's the truth is that Sony really doesn't contact me in any way. Never really tried. I also work on other rumor websites, and there, for example, some companies try to contact me. So, to be honest, some try to control me somehow or just meet me. This was many years ago. But when it comes to Sony, nobody really contacts me, and I also truly don't know what they think about their rumor website or this channel. I think that I have the sense that, or I hope that after 15 years of work, they just are used to it and they are really not much afraid of this website. That's my hope, that they see me like this. But to be honest, sometimes I really would love to get contacted by a company like Sony just to chat about the future of photography the way I see it. And I may see it wrong, so it's not that I know it all. But after 15 years of working and talking with you guys and so forth and seeing what sells and not sells, I think I have a sort of sense of what could work or not could work. But sometimes I still miss. For example, I wouldn't have expected the Sony A12 to sell that well. So I was wrong there. But, you know, but I would love to meet the Sony managers and talk to them. Obviously, I would never, also with the agreement that this will not be published, obviously, and I would respect it, obviously. But I would love to have a chat, and I would love to be in Japan one time. Never been there. Sony A9 III. The camera would be capable of so much more. It was. I don't know what you mean with that. Crippled by software. I can think of a couple of things, but I don't know. Because this is a global shutter sensor, this is completely different tech. I don't know what's actually would be way more possible on this camera. I think Sony really tried to innovate the max possible on this global shutter sensor. And we know from official financial reports that they will push the technology on full frame mirrorless cameras. So we can expect global shutters with higher resolution. Probably Sony A9 IV, sometimes I talk German, sorry, will have a higher resolution global shutter sensor. So I expect a 33 megapixel global shutter sensor on the Sony A9 IV. That's a guess of mine, but I think I will be right. So we can see in 2-3 years from now. Okay. Let's see. Lumix news any for January 26. I don't know what's going on. It's the first time I hear about January 26. please send me an email and let me know if there is some kind of teaser about this. We know Lumix might be announcing an S1H2 next year. I would love also to get a S9 with integrated viewfinder. So those two cameras could be coming in 2026, but let me know if you got something, because I didn't hear anything about the January 26 announcement, although I expect the Panasonic announcement before, of course, the big show in Yokohama end of February. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. It might be that Sony made a switch now and they're becoming consistent with firmware updates. But obviously, the problem is all the cameras, they have differences with the newer generation of cameras. The Sony A7V works different than the Sony A1. So doing firmware updates for the Sony A1 is a bit more of a hassle. And so I don't know if they will add new features on this camera. I'm not so hopeful. I'm more hopeful about the newer generation of cameras. So I'm more hopeful that the Sony A7V, when it's announced, that in the year after it will be better than, really much better than on December 2 when we will get this camera. Scrolling on. Oh. Do you hear something about the Sony A12B? What is this? No, never heard anything about the Sony A1B. I don't know what you mean. It's a smaller update on the Sony A12. No, not coming. Yeah, I saw you mean the Sony A12A. That was a weird rumor I got. Sorry. Basically, sometimes Sony does update cameras and then names them A, like the FX3A, and that's when they changed one two aspects of the camera. For example, in the case of the FX3A, we got a new LCD screen in the back because the older one was no more in production. So the company making that LCD screen was no more doing it. So they release a model with the A and implement a new LCD screen. Don't know if this is going to happen with the Sony A12. I'm scrolling down because there's so many questions. Yeah, Yokohama in February. I don't know when, end of February. I hope the A75 is there. It will definitely be there, and so you can test out both cameras. Don't know if there will also be another camera announcement before the Yokohama show. So because actually there are many models that are late now in the Sony lineup, and maybe that's a good start to talk about 2026, because about the Sony A75, like I told you, December 2nd likely with the announcement, with an improved sensor. That's all I got, and the other specs you already know. I already displayed them for you, so you can see the specs here, and I also got an additional leaked image that I can possibly show tomorrow that shows a feature that is unique of the Sony A75, so something that you have never seen before on a Sony camera yet. And for 2026, I expect more than we got in 2025. We got the FX3A, which is not a new camera. We got the FX2, which is an FX3 with A7IV sensor. We got the RX1, R3, which is basically RX. Yeah, there are some changes, but still not something really big in terms of difference. Sony will have more announcements in 2026, and there are a ton of cameras that need an update. The Sony A7V should be coming next year, like I told you before, but also, for example, the new A7C cameras that will probably have the same tech, obviously, of this A7V. Then also the new ZV-E1.2. This is another camera that has to be coming. Also new aps-c camera. The A6700 is now also 4 years old, something like this. So the A6900 might be coming. So and obviously the A7S4, we don't know if it will happen, but I think next year we're getting more new cameras than we got this year. Okay. With so many questions. Sorry if I pause sometimes to read them, and sorry if I don't answer all of your questions, okay? Um, let's see. He can. Again, some trolls also. Again, oh, I don't know, people. In 5 years, yeah, the Sony fixer. So again, like you, all the info he had shared already. Yeah, I told you this is a live discussion about how the situation is right now. I didn't say like, I'm going to unveil totally new specs about the Sony A75. Just read the title, and if I make a mistake, I tell you I make a mistake, but in this case you made a mistake, okay? Although I shared a new info, which is the camera is likely to be announced on December 2. So that was a new info that I added in this live stream. Yes, it will have 4K 120. That I can say. I have no info about the base ISO, sorry, no info. Yeah, the IBIS will be improved. Definitely, it should have the same IBIS system of the A7V, so from 5.5 stops up to 8 stops. That I don't know, but 4K 120 I heard it's there, so don't think it's uncropped, but I don't know. I don't know, Fuji, I don't follow Fuji, go to on Fuji rumors. Okay, let's see this one. Just a rumor but from a Chinese vlogger. He said it's 0.9 version, 15 frames shooting speed, but no, no. Okay, if you can send me the source, because so I can check what his history is and if he shared reliable info from the past. Having 15 frames per second, I suspect mechanical shutter makes sense to me that they go up from 10 to 15, so I think this could be likely. And that 4K 60p is without crop would be also a good news. So send me the link to the Chinese vlogger. There are many vloggers saying many things, so that's not a reliable source. So most of the time that stuff is wrong, but send me a link so we can figure out if he's somebody that maybe means it well and really has some info. Let's see. 5150 2.0 is the best thing Sony has made recently. This year, yes, I think it's a product of the year for Sony. It's the 5150 2.0 Gen without a doubt. And I can't wait to see the new lenses like the ultra wide 2.0 zoom, the 100-400 GM 4.0 concept aperture zoom. I have no doubt at all in this case those will be excellent lenses. If I ever think they will make a camera with integrated battery grip, no. Ever, what doesn't mean ever? Maybe in 5 years from now they will make it, but not that it's on the roadmap for the next 2 years, 3 years. No. Now, if that's true, that would be quite a surprise. No, I have reliable sources and they told me A75 is coming. They didn't hear about the A7S4, sorry, unless of course they make a surprise development announcement or something like this, but you know, we're really now grasping thin air here. No, sorry, I would love you to be correct. No, the FX32 will not be the first with 3-layer sensor. I think the FX32 could likely have global shutter, so the same global shutter sensor of the Sony A9 III. That would make sense. Many rumors I do receive are deception. There are people, some people, you know, this is a big world and there are some people that I don't know why they keep sending wrong stuff. In time, you know when it's wrong because there's a certain language, form, context that makes you understand, like, what also happened lately is a funny story is that people start to send me AI generated spec lists. So when I get those spec sheets, those incredible spec sheets of cameras, I got them also for the Sony A75. I just let them check their AI checker tools, and they give you like, they're not 100% reliable, but they give you like the possibility that this is AI generated. Most of the time you see like 99%. So there are people really motivated to send me wrong info. It's part of the game, but I rarely fall for it. And if I have a doubt, I make it clear this is from a news source, so it could be completely BS. Are you Italian? I consider myself part of three cultures because my mother is German native language, my father Italian native language, from the Veneto area, and my wife is from Belgium, and I lived a lot in Belgium, and I loved Antwerp. I loved Belgium. Is really a surprising country. I would have never visited it without meeting my wife, but Belgium should be on your list. There are many cool places, and the people are really truly liked there. And also taking photography, for me it's easier to make photography there than here in Italy, for many reasons. I like more the light there, the scenarios there, but it's just my own private opinion. Let's go down. Sorry. So again, so many questions. I try to do my best to read all. Again, ultra wide angle 2.0 GM lens is coming between there's a chance it's coming December 2, but I didn't get a confirmation. Between December 2 and March, I think this lens will be announced, and I suspect it's something like a 16-25 or something like a 18-28 millimeter 2.0 GM lens. I hope to get something solid about this, but you can hold me accountable because I know the source. This lens, ultra wide angle 2.0 GM lens, is coming for sure. You know, it can get in. Yeah, I know stuff is cheaper there, but I have to fly there. That costs. I have to go find some Airbnb. That costs. And usually then you should pay import taxes in Europe. Also then, and if you hide it, yeah, and then the lens breaks down, then making it repair. So it's not worth the hassle. Okay, I didn't hear anything about A6 next year. What do you mean with it? The A6 series aps-c camera. On paper, if Sony keeps the pace they have to renovate the camera after 4 years, we should get an A6900 next year, but I don't know if it's going to happen. A75, no, CF Express Type B, Type A, and SD. No Type B coming on the Sony A75. It has the same Sony A7V body, so it will be the same 2 times dual SD Type A slot. Let's see your questions. I know the questions were already answered before, so sorry. Don't feel bad if I don't answer you. Just rewatch the live stream at the beginning. I probably have answered your question. How much does a stacked sensor matter? It's because of the speed. Stacked sensors are faster, so you can do faster frame rate, less rolling shutter, of course, obviously faster and better video. So there are advantages. The downside is it costs more. So that's why we have partially stock sensor, which sits somewhere in between, but also have some limitations, like for example dynamic range. We have some issues on a Z6 III, although the Lumix S1 II got this trick where you can basically choose if you want that extra dynamic range and a bit less speed and something like this. So you can get around and work with it. We don't want global shutter, but we need stacked sensor. Depends from your use case. For film and video, I think global shutter has clear advantages because you don't see the distortions, and for many applications that's very important. So I think global shutter has a future, like stack sensor. I also love the idea that's something else about a foveated-like sensor. So the 3-layer sensor RGB from Sigma. I hope they pull it off and we are getting a full frame sensor with this design, because that would give us something different with incredible color accuracy, which for photos is very important. And me as a mainly photographer, I would love to get a foveated sensor. Okay, I have to skip some questions because no. Sony RX100 Mark 8 2026. I don't know, but I think they should do it because the RX100 series is quite popular, but now it's aging. I think doing a new camera with some updates tailored for the market would work. So I can see this happening, would make sense, but I didn't get any info. Yeah, I will ask. Yeah, ja, ich spreche Deutsch. Absolut. Also ich kann ganz gut Deutsch sprechen oder Tirolerisch auch. Also weil ich im Südtiroler bin. Teilweise Südtiroler. Sorry for that. 18 1.4 GM. I don't have any info about this. No info about the pricing. I guess it will be between something around $3,500. That's my guess for this. Probably 4,000. Yeah, I hope the A6900 will be like the A6700. I will. Okay, I throw it in here even if Sony will ignore me. I do a A7000, please. So aps-c sensor camera with the A7 body. That would be nice. They're not doing it, but I would love to get this one. No, the price is close to $3,000. I think it will be $100 less or more of the Canon R6 Mark III. So that's what I've been told. It has the same A7V screen, so the same resolution, brightness, which is okay. I would love to get a better screen now that we got the Nikon ZR with that huge screen. I would love to get that kind of screen, but yeah, we are not getting it. I haven't heard anything about FX30 Mark II. First, we should get on paper the FX3 too. Okay, that's more or less everything. Yeah, that's true. What's definitely true this year, Sony, and probably also next year, has a bit slowed down the production, the introduction of new cameras, because what I know for sure from trusted sources is that there were bottlenecks in the production, and also a demand of some, still big demand for cameras that do exist, and they had issues still a couple of months ago. So that's why also the Sony A75 rumor was quite a long stretch rumor, and that's why I understand you were upset also with me, because this camera actually was rumored to be announced a couple of months earlier. But everything got stretched, and so I think most of the stuff now so I think 2026 we will get more stuff than in 2025 because of that. Okay, folks, that's a bit. That's all. Now, if you were here for the Sony A7V, I think we can stop here. Now I will just talk you a tiny bit more about my private project for 2 minutes, because between one rumor and another, you will see on YouTube channel a couple of rumors coming. I already made a new video about Sony's another Sony A7V info that hopefully will go online tomorrow if the source approves that I can post it. Then you will see a new video tomorrow that is will create a ton of buzz, so a ton of discussion, because the Sony A75 will have one feature that is a first for a Sony Alpha camera, maybe even for every kind of full frame camera out there. That is quite controversial. So I will post this video. If the source tells me yes, then I will post it tomorrow. And on Monday or Tuesday, you will see, probably if everything works fine, a rumor about me talking about this camera. I'm building a camera around this lens. This is a Nikon 890mm f11 large format lens. And I'm building a giant camera obscura behind it, and to create direct images of in camera 126 centimeters per 126 centimeters. I don't know how this is in inches, 40 inches, something, 450 inches per 50 inches. And those are direct positive images. Imagine Polaroids, but just giant and of high quality. And I'm using the RR4 reversal process, which actually is not really good, but I think I found a way to improve it so that it's really of good quality. Nearly infochrome, chivachrome quality, and we're using new kind of tech to get to this level. And so basically this will be a project I will be doing a lot in next years, and I got a commission from one designer that is very famous. I will mention him in one of the future videos, so you can check up for the designer, and you will see he worked for Johnny Ive from Apple, for Google. Now he's doing something for Starbucks and so forth. So he's that kind of level. And basically, I will photograph with this camera. I'm building this camera to photograph his work. And also then there's a second and third project. There's a second project in Venice, because I will work on taking shots at night of Venice with this giant camera, creating unique images, one-of-a-kind images. There is no negative, no digital copy. It's just one image you cannot copy. And the resolution I calculate is more or less like shooting one image with 7,000 Sony A7R 5 cameras. So 7,000 times 61 megapixel. That's the resolution of one shot. And I will create a series of night shots of Venice. That's happening at best in autumn 2026. And then there will be an exposition there in 2027. Then there's also a third project already nearly approved, and so forth. And so I'm building this camera. It's taking me a lot of time. And I forgot to remove the chat overlay. So this will take me a lot of time. And I want to, on this YouTube channel, I want to talk about the process of building this camera, why it's so special, why I'm doing this, and what's going to happen. And I'd also show you there are at least a couple of famous people involved that I will photograph, so you will see that it's quite incredible project for me, and it also gives me a bit of anxiety. I feel like it's something that stresses me a lot, more than your comments on this YouTube channel, way more. So much that I'm really having a coach now, psychotherapist, but not that is specialized for coaching when you have stressful jobs, so that I can handle all this stress, because it's going to be very, very difficult. Once you see the camera, and I will explain it, you will understand why this is a crazy project and why actually nobody is really doing this, and I'm doing this. So it's amazing. Okay, I take some of your questions. The last questions. Yeah. You want to see again the lens? So I can compare it with. You want to see a comparison with one of the E-mount lenses I have? Wait, I'm going to take one. Okay. So this is my Tamron 28-200. I told you also in one of the past videos I'm considering to buy the 25-200 from Tamron, the new one. This is the front of the lens. And this is how the Nikon 890mm lens is, okay? Maybe I should use this one also to shoot with the Sony A7V. You know, in paper, there would be a way to do that. It's a bit of a hassle, but I don't know if it makes sense. And to be honest, I have on my eBay radar 2 more lenses that I would love to buy. One Schneider lens and one Zeiss lens from the 80s, both from the 80s, that are superior to this one. And the problem is one costs 16,000 euro. There's only one you can buy right now. This is the Schneider 1100mm f19 fine art lens, which would give me a larger image circle and also a sharper image. It's sharper than this one. And the other one is a Zeiss lens, a Gemini lens, also superior to this one, costs a bit less, something like 4,500 to 5,000 euro. But it's a lot of money, and I'm already spent around 5,000 euro on the material to like those filters. This is a different filter, ER filter, because I have to cut UV and ER, so infrared and ultraviolet, and I need a ton of those filters to correct for the fact that I'm using RF4 paper, which is meant for tungsten use with laser printing, so completely something different, and I need a ton of filters, high quality filters. Those are expensive. I spent 5,000 euro, I have to spend other 5,000 euro to build a cube, so I'm not going. I would love to buy the new lenses, but there's no money yet, and so it's going to be a very expensive project. Okay, last questions. Yeah. Knotenkino, what? Okay, I didn't get this, I'm tired, so explain it to me. Send me an email and let me know what you mean. You can do it, and yes. By the way, if you're interested to join, if you want me to help shooting with the camera I'm going to build, which is 2 meters, 2 meters per 2 meters behind this lens, so that I can take those direct images, you can help me. So if you're interested to write about this project or join the photography session with this, the first image will be taken early May on the Dolomites, specifically at the Rosengarten, Catinaccio, if you know the mountains. There will be about 10 people on set working to get an image with this camera, and I will tell you when I will do it, and you will be invited to be there and help me out if you want, okay? So you can definitely come and see how this works. I want to see the results. I already made the camera once and did shoot on Ilfochrome Chibochrome. You can see the results. I have the images here in Merano, South Tyrol. So if you ever pass in northern Italy and you want to see the images, let me know. Write me an email. You know my email address, sonyalpha@gmail.com, and you can see the images. Okay, folks, that's about it, okay? This is not the new Sony ultra wide angle GM 2.0 lens. Don't worry, it's not going to be like this, okay? Folks, that's it. It was nice to chat with you. Now, I hope next time we have a live chat, we will discuss the real final 100% certain specs. I think the next live chat will be end of November, and I've been promised by my trusted sources to get the full info. So end of November, I will make a new chat, and then we can discuss the proper specs of the Sony A7V and see if this will be something we can be happy about or not.